For today's video, I wanted to talk about how to play neutral, and not in so much as like, oh, you have to camp versus be aggressive or whatever, but I wanted to talk about the fundamentals of how to attack where your opponent is going to be in neutral. As you're playing, of course, you shouldn't necessarily be attacking where your opponent is. You should be attacking where you think they will be when your move is coming out, or like how you expect them to move, and try to read that. It seems a lot more complicated than it is, to be honest, so I'm going to go over the basics of it and hopefully help you learn how to play neutral against various characters, both offensively and defensively. So, as I mentioned, you want to be playing neutral in a way that you're going to hit your opponent where they will be at a certain point and not necessarily where they are. Sometimes that is the same thing, but oftentimes it is not, because people in Smash want to move. They want to be moving forward, they want to be running backward. So I want to teach you a couple of terms first so you can understand this instead of it being entirely overwhelming, because I'm sure at some level you're thinking, okay, well, do I want to attack them here, or here, or here, or here, like horizontally speaking, or here, 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 at basically all these different points throughout the stage, but it's not quite that difficult to think of. You basically just have to break it down into 3 areas, which is 1, you want to attack the space between yourself and your opponent. And for this, example, me and Yoshi are on the same level, pretend that Yoshi's on the floor, but I just don't want to hit Yoshi and reset them over and over again. So if you expect the Yoshi to move forward and you are the Pikachu, you want to instantly forward air or instantly back air. You're attacking the space between yourself and the opponent. That is called an undershoot, because you're just basically aiming your attacks or shooting your attacks under the distance of you and your opponent, so it's less than that. There's of course then attacking where your opponent is, because you expect them to stand still, you expect them to spot dodge or throw out a ground move or throw out a projectile like a Yoshi egg, so you just kind of run up and down tilt them, or run up and grab them, or run up and again maybe do a slower back air, no I hit the Yoshi, or do like a run up landing fair or a run up down air or something like that. Again, that's Pika specific, there are options that every single character can do. It's whatever your like combo starter is or whatever your neutral tool is, just do it where the Yoshi is. And then there's the third option, which is overshooting, which is basically running behind your opponent because you expect them to back up. And again, a lot of people play neutral in this game by doing this, and they almost always start with a backdash because it's less committal, right? Because if someone dashes forward first and they didn't intend to throw out a button, and then someone can just immediately throw out their aerial, you get hit for it. But when you're overshooting, you basically run behind your opponent and attack behind them. There's obviously a little bit more nuance to overshooting, because there's a difference between overshooting just a little bit and then overshooting like all the way to the ledge. But for the most part, this is going to be good, because regardless if you're not sure of where your opponent's going to go, you can always run as far as you can, realize that they keep dashing backwards, like they're running away from you, and then just take the stage here, and then now you have the ability, like pretend now Yoshi's like over here because they dashed backwards, go over there. So they dashed over there, you took all the space from here, right, because the Yoshi was here, so then they dashed backwards and you just took all the space, and now they're in the corner and you get to play this mix-up, which is going to be a bit better. Obviously, this is why stage control is important, because if the Yoshi is all the way at the ledge and I'm here, I don't really have to worry about overshooting against them. Like, again, some characters can like run under and side B or go under the stage, and plenty of characters do that, and they can also do things like, I'm gonna do it as Pikachu, but you can just like run off and then do like an aerial to catch someone just trying to hit you where you are. But that's obviously a lot easier, or like a lot simpler to deal with than it is to just be like, okay, well, I have to run like somewhere I have to have an attack in all this space. So again, that is an overshoot. That's the aggressive angle of it, but now I want to talk about the defensive angle of it. So now let's talk about what happens when your opponent is doing those things and you want to play the defensive game. So I'm going to be doing this a little bit more disjointed because I can't use 2 controllers at once. So actually, let me try to do it like in slow-mo. So for the undershoot, you are expecting Yoshi to do just like an immediate short hop nair, right? And there's 2 things you can do against this that are pretty easy, which is 1, stand still and then whiff punish them. So like, let's say a Yoshi does this, you can just up tilt it as Pikachu, or you can do something like a general whiff punish, which would be dashing backwards and then dashing forwards with an aerial or a dash attack or something like that. Let's see if I can get it. I'm gonna do a forward air just for the ease of use, for, just I can do both one-handed. And then you whiff punish. Obviously, certain moves will have different amounts of lag, so it will be a little bit easier or harder to do this, but this is basically the premise. If the Yoshi is attacking where you are, so they're either running up and doing a rising aerial, or in a lot of cases doing like short hop falling aerials on where you are because they're expecting you to spot dodge or throw out a ground move or something to avoid it, there's 2 things you can do, which is 1, undershoot them, right, because you're expecting them to move forward and they're gonna attack you where you are, so hit them first. So basically like you instant dash attack them after you recognize that they jump. Or alternatively, you do a similar thing to before, where you just dash backwards and whiff punish it. Again, I'm supposed to be dash attacking. You can get much better punishes. I'm doing this two-handed on 2 controllers, so, you know, the optimization, give me a little bit of a break. But yeah, that's basically what you do when your opponent is trying to attack where you are. And there are technically 3 things to do when your opponent is trying to overshoot, which is keep running away and eventually punish them and hope that they eventually hit or try to hit you when you're not there. But then there's also standing still and hitting them or undershooting them, because again, you're expecting your opponent to run forward, because it'll look like this if they're doing something to try to hit behind you. So you can just, you know, guess right and figure out, hey, they're going to be dashing forward. Let me just hit them, right? So they just like dash forward and you up tilt them, or do an aerial or something like that. Or they dash forward and then you just, you know, meet them in the middle. That's how I get a lot of kills as Pikachu, is I expect people to approach and then I dash attack them and they're DIing in, and so they die super early. But that's basically the offensive and defensive way to deal with each of those things. And I feel like it makes a lot of sense. You do have to obviously be aware of this, and the biggest issue comes into learning what characters like to do what, because obviously every character can technically do all 3 in terms of running away, or, you know, like offensively, do they want to, you know, move forward, move backward, or stand still for the offensive section, right? So you're expecting an undershoot or defense, or like standing still, or you know, trying to whiff punish or something like that. But like whether you should undershoot, overshoot, that can get a little complicated. But you also have to think of these general rules, right? Characters that have really good out of shield options like to stand still because they're down for you to hit their shield and then they will punish you for it. So characters like Game & Watch, like Samus, like Cloud, like Mario, those are all characters very content to stand still. For characters with really good rising aerials, you can expect those to be offensive characters, especially if those rising aerials are combo starters, like you think Mario rising up air, Pikachu rising back air, Luigi rising forward air. Those characters like to run forward, so you can have you can understand that, hey, they're gonna move forward, let me play the defense of the undershoot game and just kind of stand there and try to hit them, or back up and try to hit them. And there are plenty of characters that want to zone you, right? They want to run away. Characters like Samus and Mii Gunner, they're probably running away from you to try to keep you out. Even like Min Min and Rob, they like to run away from you. Most characters, I would say, have 2 of these aspects that they are good at, and 1 that they are a little bit lackluster. So characters with bad out of shield options, like Greninja, probably don't want to stand still because it's beneficial for him to either run forward and try to hit you, or run back to then try to whiff punish you. A character like Dr. Mario doesn't necessarily have the speed or combo potential, of rising aerials to really want to approach, so he's down to stand still and, hit you out with things like short hop down air reads or backing up, and then maybe having like that space behind him, now he can throw out a pill, and that's how he approaches. Again, a lot of charge shot characters, Mewtwo, Samus, Mii Gunner, they're down to stand still. They're just chilling. They're just charging their Shadow Ball and they'll shoot you, or they're charging their charge shot and will shoot you. Then, of course, they have their different mix-ups, but, for the most part, they're very comfortable standing still. And, of course, there are some characters that are very good at doing all 3. I think Pikachu's very good at doing all 3 because he has good out-of-shield options, he's good at running away and playing evasive, and then he has a really oppressive offensive game. I think Steve is also good at all 3. He's not the fastest character, but, like, his reward is so big for approaching that it ends up being fine anyway. And then, of course, he's down to run away to get materials, and then he's down to stand still because he has things like Footstool Anvil out of shield, he has things like Up Smash for anti-airs, he has like just good moves to anti-air you or wall you out even if he's standing still. And if you want a more detailed breakdown on what characters can do what, or what you expect them to do, let me know down in the comments below, but understanding that info is really good when going into an initial game plan of playing this game. So I really think that understanding those concepts, especially where to attack your opponents or how they want to attack, is very, very important. And it's a lot simpler than thinking of the entire stage as a billion different points you can attack, and mostly break it down into standing still, moving forward, moving backwards, so for like overshooting and undershooting. And I hope that helped. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I would appreciate it. And as always, social media Stripe partner stuff is down below, and I will see you all next time. Peace.